So, you're looking at the Canon R7 and the R8. On the surface, they seem kind of similar, right? Same lens mount, but trust me, they are worlds apart. They represent two completely different ways of thinking about photography. If you're stuck trying to figure out which one is for you, well, you're in the right place. Let's dig in and figure this out.
You know the feeling. You've got two browser tabs open, you're staring at this wall of numbers, megapixels, ISO, burst rate, and your eyes just start to glaze over. A spec sheet is great at telling you what a camera has inside of it, but there's a huge problem with that. It doesn't tell you the most important thing, who that camera is actually for. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to get past all those numbers and figure out which of these cameras actually fits the way you shoot. So yeah, think of this less like a boring technical breakdown and more like a story. It's a tale of two cameras, each one built for a totally different kind of photographer. Your only job here is to listen and decide which story sounds more like your own.
All right, let's meet our two main characters. We're going to look at the fundamental idea, the core philosophy that Canon baked into each of these cameras. Okay, so in one corner, you've got the R8. I like to call this one the full-frame minimalist. Its entire mission in life is to give you that stunning, creamy, full-frame look, even if it has to cut a few corners to get there. And in the other corner, the R7. This is the APS-C workhorse. This camera is all about features, reliability. It's designed to be a tool that just works, no matter what you throw at it.
And where does this huge difference in philosophy start? Well, it all comes down to the heart of the camera, the sensor. And this isn't just some minor technical detail, you guys. The sensor size changes everything about the pictures you take.
So the R8 rocks a big, beautiful, full-frame sensor. The best way to think about it is like a giant bucket for catching light. More light means better performances when things get dark. Simple as that. The R7, on the other hand, has a smaller APS-C sensor, but it has this incredible trick up its sleeve, a 1.6 times crop factor that acts like a built-in zoom for every single lens you own. Let's put a number on that bigger bucket idea. The individual light-gathering pixels on the R8 sensor, they have a whopping 253% more surface area than the ones on the R7. That's a huge difference. It literally means the R8 just vacuums up more light, which translates to cleaner images with way less ugly noise, especially when you're forced to push that ISO in a dark church or a dimly lit venue. But don't count the R7 out, because it has its own magic number, that 1.6x crop. It's basically a free range extender that's built right into the camera body. You take your 400mm lens, you pop it on the R7, and boom, you're suddenly shooting at 640mm. For anyone shooting wildlife or sports, that is an absolute, no questions asked game changer. It's free reach. Okay, so sensor size is a big one. But now we get to the stuff that will probably make this decision for you, like that. We're talking about three key differences that are, for most people, the real deal breakers. First up, let's talk about the great stabilization divide. Seriously, this might be the single most argued about feature difference between these two cameras. It's a choice Canon made that really draws a line in the sand.
The R7 has IBIS, that's in-body image stabilization, and it's a powerful one, giving you up to 7 stops. So what on earth does that mean? It means the actual sensor inside the camera is floating, and it moves around to cancel out your shaky hands. This lets you do crazy things, like shoot handheld at super slow shutter speeds and still get a perfectly sharp photo. Imagine capturing the motion of a waterfall without a tripod, or getting a sharp shot of an animal from a moving boat. It's incredible.
And the R8, it has nothing. No IBIS. Zero. It was a choice they made, for sure, to keep the camera smaller and cheaper. But what it means for you is that you're totally dependent on your lenses having stabilization. If they don't, your only option is to crank up the shutter speed, which means cranking up the ISO and getting more noise. It basically puts more of the burden on you to be a steady shooter. Deal breaker number 2, battery life. And man, this perfectly sums up that workhorse versus minimalist thing we talked about. The R7 will get you around 660 shots on a charge. You can pretty much shoot all day. The R8 gets you 290. That's less than half. If you're shooting an event, you're not just bringing one extra battery, you're bringing a pocketful. It completely changes how you have to think and plan your day. It's a real liability.
And the last big one, card slots. The R7 has 2. This is all about professional peace of mind. You can have every photo write to 2 cards at once. If one card fails, and trust me, they do, you lose nothing. For something you can't reshoot, like a wedding, this is basically a requirement. The R8, it has 1 slot.
Just one. That means you are always one tiny electronic glitch away from losing an entire shoot. It's a gamble, pure and simple.
Okay, so those are the big technical deal breakers. But specs on paper are one thing. Let's talk about how this all shakes out in the real world for different kinds of photography. Let's get practical. All right, first up, wildlife and nature. Let's just get this out of the way. It's not even close. The R7 absolutely dominates here. That 1.6x crop factor for extra reach, the APS to keep those long lens shots rock steady, and a battery that won't die on you in the middle of nowhere. This camera feels like it was designed from the ground up specifically for this job.
Okay, but what about weddings and events? Now, this is where things get really interesting and kind of tricky. The R8's full-frame sensor is going to give you cleaner images in those dark reception halls. There's no debating that. But, and this is a seriously big but, that awful battery life and the single card slot are just terrifying for a professional. You're trading reliability for that little bit of extra image quality. That's a scary trade-off on someone's wedding day.
Now for travel photography, the tables turn. The R8 is the clear winner here. It's over 150 grams lighter, and you really feel that difference when it's hanging around your neck all day long. Size and weight are king when you're traveling, and the R8 is just a much more pleasant companion. You got to remember to pack 3 or 4 batteries and be religious about charging them every single night.
So, where does that leave us? It brings us right back to the beginning. The best camera for you isn't the one with the most impressive-looking spec sheet. It's the one that fits your actual life, your actual shooting style, and just lets you create without fighting you every step of the way.
Let's boil it all down. You should buy the Canon R8 if full-frame image quality is your #1 non-negotiable priority. If you're constantly shooting in low light, if you need the smallest and lightest camera for travel, and this is key, if you are okay with managing its weaknesses, you're okay with carrying extra batteries and being extra careful because you don't have a backup card slot. If that's you, the R8 will give you gorgeous results.
On the other hand, you should buy the Canon R7 if what you really need is a reliable workhorse. If you need that IBIS to get sharp shots with long lenses, if you shoot wildlife and need that extra reach, and if you simply cannot risk a card failure or a dead battery at a critical moment. If peace of mind and features are more important than sensor size, then the R7 is without a doubt the camera for you.
So look, there's no better camera here. They're just different. The R8 is all about that beautiful sensor, even if it means sacrificing features. The R7 is all about having every feature you could possibly need, even with a smaller sensor. The only way to make the wrong choice is to buy the camera you think you should want instead of the one you actually need. Just be honest with yourself about how you shoot, and I promise, the right answer will be staring you right in the face.